Roger is interested to get into different topics, and we have received a lot of pearls that he brought forth by digging into the material. And he is a technician. What kind of techniques doesn't mean, whether it's mechanics, electronics, or software, he's just fascinated by it. He has an electronic production at home, and he has a radio station at home, and you maybe want to receive his sign. You can't receive that by each of the speakers. He started in informatics after doing some apprenticeship and other things, and today he will talk on communication. Do you understand?
Ja, mein Thema ist Kommunikation.
My topic today is communication, and I hope that I can communicate it well. It is a strength in couple counseling between man and woman, but it is a topic of informatics as well. Can you listen to sign?
Habt ihr verstanden?
Did you understand?
Wahrscheinlich haben wenige bis niemand das verstanden.
Maybe nobody or only a few of you understood it. This was communication, but not successful, because it's not implemented in the receiver's settings. It's needed to be understood. Today I would like to talk, and therefore this title, what is successful communication? What is needed to have a successful communication? What we've heard right now was a Morse alphabet. This is dash, point, dash, and things like that. And we didn't understand that Morse code. What is it? What does it need that we can understand? This is just an example to show us. It's strange, isn't it? I didn't understand. But if I look at it, if I learn it, it's better. But if I didn't get it when I grew up, I don't understand. Communication is transmitting information, or information transmission, if data goes from A to B, it is communication. And we will have a look what is in communication to make it successful. Erosion, chaotic. We go on a journey. What the water did with this field is erosion. It's a chaotic process for us. We cannot tell in advance where the brook will go through after a storm. It's a chaotic process, which I call it. Reason is water. We recognize it well. What is this? A sand dune? It's a bit different. It's a response. It's the reaction on something. This is the wind that came, that was the reason. We see it at the edge of the sea, sometimes in the water that we can see to the ground. We see like waves of sand. The water that passes is like the wind that passes here. It has a certain beauty. And what causes this? It is a physical anomaly or a law of nature. It's called the resonance, the response. Simple case. It is the formula for response in gases. In a gas, And in
die
the
Funktion
picture there, the function, we can see the image of the
Maximum
function.
aufhält. Das ist, was eigentlich Resonanz
And
ist. Salopp
on the maximum point, there
das ist,
is an
was
assembling
akustischen
place.
Instrumenten zugrunde liegt.
Acoustic instruments work like that.
Man könnte auch sagen, es ist dort, wo sich eine
It's where
Schwingung mit Vorliebe
a wave
und mit wenig Energieverlust
prefers to stay with a little energy, with the least of energy. In the nature, there are laws that are not chaotic, like the erosion that we saw it before. Maybe God will understand, I assume, but we don't. There are processes that are under certain law, and we can put it into mathematic formulas, elegant formulas, and in abstract form, we see how the things behave, if they increase, or whether they make waves slower. And this is a certain field to have a look at and to formulate laws by mathematics. It's useful for certain applications. I'm an engineer and I'm in production. Those formulas are important for me because I can tell in advance how I need to produce. For the scientists, it's much more interesting to have such formulas. And here, this is another picture. This is not chaotic, and it's not a natural law, a law of nature. Some artist made a picture here. He built something out of sand. It was a man, and he enjoyed to build such a thing. Maybe he was tired. It was too boring at the seaside. Again, the erosion as a chaotic process, or then a man who plans. He played with balance. Why do I show those pictures? It's clear this is not by hazard that this was made over time or by natural processes. It had been a man. It's simple to say chaotic, probably certain law, or this is a man's product. We can do that as this here was a creative person. Again here, some intelligent being did something. I speak of the bridge here from the board that crosses the water. If I want to get over with a dry foot, I may jump if I can, or for my grandmother, I may put the board. It's an intelligent solution for a certain problem. Man can solve problems. We see this bridge once in a lifetime, and we may apply it at a second similar occasion without having done a study or some apprenticeship. Just look at it. If you find the board strong enough, then you can reproduce. This is communication as well. I see something, and in my mindset something starts. And from then I know how to do it. It is very difficult to find out something by himself, but it's very logical if I can have a look at it. But I didn't see it before, I didn't get it before. Therefore we have fathers and mothers who show the different things. We learn a lot by having a look at, and that's communication. This another picture of a bridge. It's a way, a pathway over some difficult country. With studying the law of nature, the man can apply it to problems. A lot of things we learn by seeing it, and others we have to study to apply it. And then we can use the things applied, we can communicate it to other people. For example, we have scientists at universities But we also have scientists who, at professors at the university, communicate their knowledge to students. So it's a process to generate science and to pass it on, to communicate. Teachers, students, children at school. This is how our schools work from small until you get a doctor title. My topic is successful communication. I define it. Successful communication contains senseful information, fulfills a goal or a purpose, and it goes from a sender to a receiver. In parentheses, sender may be my handy that had been built by a man, and this thing shows me something. And the receiver may be a technical thing. I can, for the microwave, I can tell the microwave how long it shall heat by pressing some buttons and turning on the minutes. So the machine understands what I want to tell. So in general, I speak from sender and receiver, not only from man to man, but it's the principle of communication. So it doesn't matter who is the sender, is a man or a machine, or who is the receiver, but it needs both of them, receiver and sender. Wash your hands. If you don't wash your hands, it hadn't been successful communication. You heard it, but you didn't do it. Senseful communication has a purpose. It shall generate a reaction at the receiver. That is what I want to say, which is the definition of successful communication. What's the content of information? Information that is transmitted, it may be true or false, useful or useless. We can spend our lives with useless information. Information can be good or dangerous. It can be relevant or irrelevant, maybe not relevant now, but maybe important for the future. This is the same when we talk about data, information, communication. It belongs together. I can't talk on each element of that. I want to take you on a journey with our thoughts. In informatics, it is one topic, communication. It is even a foundation of communication technology. We have data. So to make informatics, we need to connect data with a purpose. We have to transmit from a sender to a receiver. And we have an implemented language where the receiver understands what he receives. And we have data. Doesn't matter what data is. Maybe dangerous data. Let's attack with a rocket. Or God is not good. It's a dangerous data, a dangerous information. Since I need to read the Bible to balance it out, I need to check what God did. And sometimes I miss it, I lack it. With my own conviction, I make another step. Let's say there is a creator. What would that mean then? What implications out of that? And how we can come against it with proofs? I have to let myself into such a thinking. And only if I read the Bible, what God says, only then I'm competent to say, who is that God? Is he bad? Is he good? Is he mean? Is he wicked? 35 years I have read the Bible now, and for me, God is good, incredibly good. I want nothing else than staying with that eternal Father, and I may judge it because I read 35 years the Bible. No other book I read that long. Or Before, I thought God doesn't
Also,
exist.
in der Informatik, wenn
In
wir
informatics, if
Informatik betreiben
we
wollen, müssen wir
want to
Informationen
make
in Form von
informatics,
Daten
we
irgendwie
need
haben.
information in
Und
form
dann
of
müssen wir
data.
uns ein
We need to have
Kommunikationssystem
a communication system.
bauen,
We
programmieren,
have to design
realisieren in
it, program
Hardware
it,
und Software.
hardware and software.
Ich habe beides gemacht,
I
Hardwareentwicklung und
have made
Softwareentwicklung
both,
und auch die normale
engineering,
Informatik, aber auch
hardware
die
and
Administration
software,
von Systemen und,
and
und, und.
administration of systems, and.
Dann müssen wir uns über Redundanz wegen
And then we have to talk
Fehlertoleranz,
about redundancy,
Fehlererkennung und auch Effizienz Gedanken
tolerance for
machen.
mistakes, efficiency.
Wir müssen dann den Sender und den Empfänger
We need to
implementieren.
implement sender and receiver.
Meine Diplomarbeit war das.
My topic in my
Und
master
wir machen
thesis
das
was
alles nur
this,
wegen einem Zweck,
to
einem
implement
Ziel.
sender and receiver. And we do it with a purpose, with a
Ich
goal,
nenne das dann später
pragmatic
Pragmatik
and
und
apobetic.
Apobetik. Wir kommen noch zu diesen Fremdworten. Also in der Informatik, in der
In informatics,
Informationstheorie ist es
in the
sonnenklar,
information theory, it is very
was man
clear
alles machen muss, dass
what
es dann am Schluss
has to be done
überhaupt
that at the end
funktionieren kann.
it functions.
Das entsteht nicht einfach
It
so.
doesn't exist in
Das
a
ist wie
moment.
das Sandburg bauen
It is like building a sand
oder diese
castle
Balancekünstler mit den
or the
Steinen
balancing
oder
out
dieses
stones
Brett
or
über
put a
das
board
Problem
over
lösen.
the river over to solve the problem.
Und niemand in der Informatik würde
And
daran
no one in
zweifeln, dass alles, was
informatics
wir heute
doubts
haben
that
an
all what we
Kommunikationsgeräten,
have here in
technischer Art,
information technology,
einfach entstanden sind über Zeit und Raum.
it
Das wurde
happened like that
designt,
over
das wurde
time
entwickelt, das wurde
and
implementiert.
space. No,
Und ich kann
it
nur
had been
sagen, die Idee, die
engineered,
ist schnell da.
implemented, and the
Aber
idea
bis
is
das
there
Ding
very quick.
fehlerfrei und robust
But
ist,
until
dort geht der
the
Schweiß
thing
und die
is there
Genialität
without
einen
mistakes
langen
and it
Weg,
works,
bevor der
you
TÜV
need to
rollt.
work hard.
Ist gar nicht so ohne.
It's
Und wir werden das noch
not
genau
a
anschauen im
simple
Vergleich
thing.
zu Biologie.
Let's
Soweit wie ich
have a
das als
comparison with
Informatiker beurteilen kann. Ich
biology
bin nicht
later,
Biologe oder
as I
Genetiker.
may do it as an informatics person.
Aber als
I'm
Informatiker
not
kann
a
ich auch
scientist
etwas
in gene
zufügen,
technology,
glaube ich.
but as informatician, I may add a little bit, maybe.
Werner Gitt schreibt schon
Werner
seit
Gitt, another person,
Jahrzehnten,
he has been writing
wahrscheinlich
for a
40 oder
long
mehr
time, for
Jahre, nehme
decades,
ich an, weil
maybe
vor
40
35
years.
Jahren bin ich zum Glauben gekommen
35 years ago,
und das
I
erste, was
started
ich
to
fand,
believe,
waren
and
die
the
Bücher von
first
Werner Gitt.
thing I found
Die waren
were the books
genial,
from
sind immer noch
Mr.
gut.
Werner Gitt. They're great,
Also,
still,
er
I
ist
love
auch
them.
so ein Informatiker und noch
He is
vieles
an
mehr.
informatics person as well,
Und er
and
ist ein
many things
Professor.
more. And he's a
Ich
professor.
habe viel von ihm gelernt.
I learned a lot from him.
Er hat dieses Schema, ich habe es
He
nur
made
vereinfacht,
that
weil das wäre für
scheme.
sich ein
I
Vortrag.
just
Und er
simplified.
sagt,
It
für
is a speech in
Informationsübertragung oder
itself.
Kommunikation
To
haben wir
transmit
den Sender
information, we
und den
need the sender
Empfänger.
and the
Aber
receiver.
in dieser
And
Informationsübertragung
in that
sprechen
information
wir von
transmission,
Statistik.
we speak of
Das sind
statistics.
Zeichen. Dann
Those
von
are
Syntax, wie man sie
signs.
richtig zusammensetzt.
And
Man kann sagen,
syntax, how
Statistik
to
sind die
put the signs
Buchstaben.
together. Statistics
Syntax
may be the
ist, ob
letters.
man jetzt
Syntax is
leeren
how to
mit
write
H oder
the
ohne
letters,
H schreibt.
whether you add an H
Und
into
solche Dinge. Dann
telephone
kommt
or
die
not.
Semantik. Man macht einen
And then we have
sinnvollen Satz.
semantic. You make a
Ich esse
senseful
Kuchen ist
sentence
kein
by adding
semantisch
words.
richtiger Satz.
I
Ich
eat
esse einen Kuchen ist ein richtiger
I eat
semantischer Satz.
cake.
Und
It's
dann
not
kommt die
correct. I
Pragmatik.
eat a cake is correct.
Soll etwas
And then it
ausgedrückt
needs to be
werden. Nein, ich
pragmatic.
esse jetzt einen Kuchen, ich mache jetzt einen
I need
Vortrag.
to express something.
Also
I don't
pragmatisch
eat
ist
cake
das
now.
jetzt falsch.
I make a speech now.
Und dann soll
So
es eine
pragmatically, it's wrong what I say.
Absicht haben.
And it needs to have a purpose that's
Es soll eine
apobetic.
Auswirkung haben.
It
Eine
shall
Zielabsicht
challenge
ist gewünscht
someone
auf der
and produce
Senderseite.
something in
Und
the
erfolgreiche
receivers.
Kommunikation
In
ist
the
erst
receivers,
abgeschlossen, wenn auf der
the successful
Empfängerseite
communication is
dieses
when the purpose
Ziel
of the sender is achieved
erfolgt.
at the receiver.
Also ihr seht, für erfolgreiche Kommunikation
To
braucht es sehr
have
viel.
successful
Und
communication,
das
you
ist auch
need
dort,
a
wo
lot
der
of things, isn't it?
Ehekurs, der
And this
Eheberater
is
eigentlich am meisten
where
kämpft.
the marriage
Die Frau
counselor
sagt zwar
fights
etwas,
most.
aber es
The
kommt beim
woman
Mann
says
niemals
something,
an.
but the man doesn't understand.
Also wir können auch sehr vieles
We can
noch
just
mitnehmen für
apply
erfolgreiche
it to other
Ehe.
fields. So take it home for your marriage.
Also nehmen wir an, die Mutter sagt jetzt nicht
If
dem
the mother
Ehemann, das wäre
says,
ein bisschen komisch, aber
not
dem Kind,
my
wasch
husband,
bitte die
so
Hände und komm an den
now the mother
Tisch.
tells to the
Das sollte man
child,
dem
wash
Ehemann
the
nicht
hands
sagen
before
müssen,
coming to
aber
the
dem
table.
Kind.
Hopefully this doesn't need
Das
to
ist
be said to the
sinnvoll
husband,
von Seite
but to
der
the child.
Mutter,
This may be senseful,
zielgerichtet und
the
in einer
purpose of
gemeinsamen
the
Sprache.
mother.
Also das Kind
And they
spricht diese
speak the
Sprache,
same
spricht diese
language,
Sprache,
that
kommuniziert.
understands this language, communicates. And then we realize, yes, that's true. It is all these elements are in this speech. When the mother talks to the child, it's syntax. I'd go wash your something. It's correct, but semantically, I'm not sure what shall I wash? My hands, my ears, my feet? Ah, the hands. I understand. Maybe you understand what this picture here contains, but it makes sense. To speak together and washing the hands. Shared thought, because the child who doesn't do it after that, it is successless communication. It stays with the sender. You understand how much it needs to make communication successful.
Also Kommunikation erfolgreich ist erst fertig, wenn das Ziel.
Successful communication is achieved only when the result is there from the side, at the side of the receiver. Wash your hands, the hands are washed. Hygiene is a goal that has been attained. Health and good habits, that were all the purposes why the mother said it. And then, only then, on this most apobetic level, then communication was successful. Let's start the small journey in the thoughts. How is it possible to have senseful communication without the planning process? Thank you, Peter.
Hast du das schon eigentlich eingeführt?
Have you already implemented that? That information that is here, it's very interesting. It's astonishing. It's not from material. Let's create it from materials, from physics, from hardware. I can't do communication, but let's start. Let's start again. Can I have successful communication without a thinking mind, planning process? We will use analytics of language until you understand what I want to say. Statistics of language, human language, communication language, is used in cryptographics, where a lot of analytics and statistics is made. That's the basic level of information transmission. We don't understand what is exchanged between sender and receiver. So you start to analyze the most basic statistics, because you don't know the syntax, semantic, pragmatic, and apobetic. So you analyze how many signs come here, how quick they come, how many times they come, what's the distribution of the signs. So we just put it upside down now to make statistics. And then by statistics, we try to get out a senseful sentence. German, to reproduce German. Here we have different languages that can be analyzed. You can make the same message in different languages and then analyze to the right side how many words were needed to say what the other language wanted to say. And then we can do the same with letters. To the right side, how many words are used, and to the left side, how many letters there are used. But there are other strange things that are out of the field. Maybe those languages that are close together may be related languages that need the same amount of words or letters. That may be. So this is a statistical analysis of language that we can apply if we want. But we don't speak on that. It's John 1:1-4 that was written.
fangen mal an.
We are using
Links ist
the
Deutsch
number
und
of signs.
rechts ist Englisch.
To the
Und da
left
sehen wir schon,
side is
in Deutsch und Englisch
German
ist
and
der
to the right
häufigste
side is
Buchstabe
English.
der E. Das
The
macht Sinn,
most
wenn wir darüber
used letter in
nachdenken
both
in
languages
Deutsch.
is
Es gibt
E.
ganz viele Worte mit E.
In German,
Und
E, like
Englisch
Emil,
auch.
Emmental,
Erstaunt
and
uns
in English,
nicht. Es
it's
ist nicht
E
die
is
gleiche
England.
Häufigkeit, aber es ist der
It's not the
häufigste.
same
Also wenn
distribution,
wir
but it's the most used letter.
100.000 Zeichen
If we
nehmen
have
von
100,000
englischen
letters
Texten und von
from the
deutschen
English texts
Texten
and
und
from
dann
the
einfach
German
auf einer
texts,
Liste
and
akribisch wie ein
we
Erbsenzähler
just
aufschreiben, wie
count
oft kommt ein E
each,
vor, wie oft
how
kommt
many
ein
times is there an
X
E,
vor und so
how
weiter,
many times is an X,
bekommen wir diese Tabelle.
then
Und
we
erstaunlich ist,
we
an
receive
zweiter
this table.
Stelle, wenn dort ein
And on
N
second,
ist, kann es
if
nicht
there is an
Englisch
N,
sein wahrscheinlich,
it
sondern
can't be English
Englisch.
probably.
Aber wenn dort
It's
ein
easier
E
to have
wäre,
it
können wir sagen, oh, das
in,
könnte nach dem E
it's
Englisch
German.
sein.
But if second place is a
Und an
T,
dritter
then,
Stelle
oh, this
kommt
could
der
be English.
R für Deutsch
In
und der
German,
O für Englisch.
it's R at the third
Also man
place,
kann
O
technisch gesehen
in English.
Deutsch und
So
Englisch
technically,
so
we can
charakterisieren. Das ist
analyze
Statistik, die
German
unterste
English.
Ebene in
This
dem
is the
vorher gesehenen
most
abstrakten
basic level
Schema.
of statistical level of the prior shown scheme.
Das ist übrigens ein Mittel, wie ihr
This
einfache
is
Verschlüsselung, wo nur
the medium
Buchstaben, Verschiebungen,
to find out
Substitution
what
gemacht wurde, erkennen
certain
Ihr denkt, die
exchange of
Kommunikation
letters
fand
to
in
get
Deutschland statt oder in der
cryptography
Schweiz, ist wahrscheinlich Deutsch.
can be
Und jetzt
reproduced
zählt ihr
or
dort der häufigste
solved.
Buchstabe, ein X zum Beispiel, das ist
And
nie in Deutsch
X
oder Englisch oder in einer
in
Sprache.
German,
Ja,
there is
in
never
Deutsch und
X,
Englisch auf jeden
a
Fall.
most
So.
often
Und
used
jetzt kommt der
letter.
vor. Dann schreibt ihr für jedes X mal ein
If
E hin.
so, you
Und der
instead of an
zweithäufigste
X,
ist, sag ich jetzt
you
mal,
use an E,
Z. Und
and
ihr
the
schreibt dort
second
das
is
N
Z,
von dieser Tabelle für
and
Deutsch hin.
you take
Und dann
N,
schaut ihr über den
and
Text
then you may
und seht ihr, ja,
understand that
das könnte
it has
sein,
been
da habe ich, genau,
cryptography,
das könnte sein.
encrypted
Und so
German
weiter. Und am
language.
Schluss habt ihr die
And at the end,
Vertauschung
you
von
will have
Buchstaben durch die Anwendung der
solved
Häufigkeiten
the
herausgefilterte
exchange of the
Verschlüsselung.
letters
Das wäre
by
Kryptographie
applying
gewesen als
that
Crashkurs heute.
by applying
Wir machen es jetzt
how
ja,
many times a letter normally
wir wollen
is in German language.
schauen, wie
So this
können
is
wir Deutsch
cryptography in a
nachmachen. Und
nutshell.
dazu nehmen wir nicht nur die Häufigkeit von
How can we
Buchstaben,
reproduce German?
weil wenn ich
We
die Häufigkeit
do not
von
only
Buchstaben nehme,
use
also
the number of
Monogrammen,
times a letter
ein
is there,
Zeichen,
the frequency of
dann
those letters,
sieht es, wenn ich die zufällig
statistical frequency.
generiere oder nach
If
Häufigkeiten
I,
ein bisschen
by
häufiger
hazard,
generiere, wie sie auch
generate
vorkommen in meiner
something,
vorher erstellten Tabelle, das sieht überhaupt nicht nach Deutsch aus.
then it doesn't look like German.
Okay, wir gehen weiter. Wir verwenden nicht eine Tabelle mit nur einzelnen Buchstaben,
So we
sondern zwei
continue.
Buchstaben. Und in
Well, now we take
Deutsch
another
zum Beispiel
table.
kommen
We need
wegen Ich und Sch kommt das CH sehr
with
oft vor,
I
zum Beispiel.
or
Also nach dem
CH,
C kommt oft
ich.
ein H.
Behind a
Sehr
C,
oft ein
we
H.
often have an
Und
H
wenn
in
wir
the
schauen,
German
wie sind
language. If we look at
Zweierbuchstabengruppen
pairs of
in der
letters,
Häufigkeit
how
und
many
verwenden
times
das,
are they used? What's the frequency of double
nachzumachen,
letters
zufällig,
to
durch die
reproduce German
kommt
by
immer noch
statistics?
nicht etwas raus, das
If
wie
we do
Deutsch
it,
aussieht. Das sieht wie eine fremde
it
Sprache aus.
it
Was
doesn't look like
machen wir hier
German.
eigentlich?
What do we do here?
Wir kehren die Evolution ein wenig um.
We
In der
we
Evolution haben wir
put
diese natürliche
evolution
Selektion.
top down.
Und die
We turn it
natürliche
around. In
Selektion,
evolution, we have a natural selection.
die sagt eigentlich, das, was
It
häufig
says
vorkommt,
the thing
muss
that
sich
are
durchsetzen,
here
weil es intelligent,
frequently,
schlau, stark, schnell, besser
it will
ist.
win because it's more
Und
clever,
dann im
more
nächsten
quick,
Schritt kommt
it's
daraus
better.
etwas Nächstes.
And the next step,
Das wird noch besser
something
und setzt sich
next
das finden wir immer
is
häufiger.
better
Am Schluss
because
findet ihr in der
the
Evolution
frequency is higher.
sogar
And in
Menschen,
evolution, we will find at
hochentwickelte
the end
Geschöpfe, die
man.
sich zwar nicht immer so verhalten,
Sometimes they don't
Tiere,
behave like man.
gewisses findet
Or
man nicht, und das
animals.
ist halt ausgestorben, weil es war
Well,
nicht
other things we
erfolgreich.
don't find it
Mit der
because it was not
Statistik,
successful.
Sprache mache ich
With
umgekehrt
statistics
auf eine
of
Art das Gleiche.
language,
Meine
we do the
natürliche
same,
Selektion ist,
but
was mir die
upside down. The natural
Sprachstatistik, also
selection
die
of
Analyse von
of language
Deutsch
production is
vorgibt.
using
In der
statistics
untersten Stufe sagt
to
es immer,
reproduce German.
E kommt als häufigstes vor, sieht
At the
noch nicht
most
nach Deutsch
basic
aus.
level,
In
E
der zweiten
is the
Stufe sagt
most
sie mir,
important letter
CH
in
kommt
German.
sehr häufig vor,
And
sieht
then,
noch immer nicht
second
nach Deutsch
level,
aus. Jetzt
CH
versteht
is
ihr, was
the
ich hier
most
mache.
often used pair. So, and
Dann
they
in der
continue.
dritten Ordnung
And then in
könnte
the
man
third
sagen,
level,
schauen wir Dreiergruppen an, Trigramm.
we use three letters behind each other. We have syllables. And if I produce language by hazard, by statistical hazard, then it seems to be surviving, because at the end it should be German. And then we can find some words that they look like German. Wenn gibt, he academically produced it.
Ein Drei-Buchstaben-Wort, natürlich auch zwei Buchstaben.
For, auf, es, so, dich, words in 2 or 3 letters, even 4-letter word, dich, is produced. With adding the frequency of 3 letters behind each other. And then we have 4 letters, the next level, and so on. Unplanned production of most used pairs or 4 letters behind each other. This is natural selection, what we do now. And there even come forth longer German words like stehen, to stand. Ich, me, bis, stehen, it doesn't make sense, really, that thing. And now we go to the next level. We look the frequency of syllables. Which syllables come behind each other. Not only how many times a certain syllable is there, but how many times 2 or 3 different syllables are connected to each other, like coming behind each other. And what is more often behind each other. And then it looks a little bit more to be German. Short words, Gentech, was produced, a long word. Astonishing. And this is how man understands evolution. Step by step, it has been produced. It comes forth. It's not produced, but it comes forth. And then what we do second last, we look at whole German words and how many times they're used. And the result is thinking, it says no, me, to which it looks like German, but if you read it, it's not German, grammatically wrong. And semantically, it doesn't make sense.
Und jetzt noch das Letzte, das wir versuchen, unter Anwendung von Worthäufigkeit und Wahrscheinlichkeit des Aufeinanderfolgens von zwei Worten, das Ergebnis,
the frequency of words and how many times they are connected behind each other, it's a lot of mathematics behind to analyze what is German. First we use German to see how many times we take good German, and then we check how it is built, and at the end we reproduce. So we have already an intelligent source. But here, if we turn it around, the sentence is because each machine has, after the horse, not only the Lord wants it, but almost every house to sit. It doesn't make sense, this sentence. It may look like German, but it doesn't arrive to the goal. Like now, artificially, we let it just happen by hazard. It evolved.
Ja, ich sage dann noch einen Satz zu KI vielleicht. AI, künstliche Intelligenz.
Artificial intelligence, maybe I can say it now.
Was KI,
what
AI,
artificial intelligence is,
künstliche Intelligenz macht, ist, das geht noch ein bisschen weiter, aber es ist die gleiche
it goes even further, but it's the same
Die sagen dann noch, ja,
game.
mit der heutigen
They say with
Rechenleistung
today's
problemlos auch
calculation
die
performance, we easily can
einbauen, das geht ganz flott.
implement grammatics as well.
Statt nur Analyse kann man
not only make analytics, we can make rules how German or French has to be produced. And therefore we have DeepL com, they translate very well. And behind it needs a big amount of data mining, to analyze data for finally making help to us to apply it to things that already exist. So it's the same game that I do here. I take of real German, analyze it, and then I help you a bit. With 2 letters, it's like that. So just try it out, calculate. With 3 letters, it looks better, and I give more help to you. But the one who does not plan, the process that is not planned, never arrives to semantic, never arrives to pragmatics or to apobetic. It doesn't have a goal to be achieved. Even there is a genius code. How can receiver and sender have implemented already? Even though you have a very good sender, how does the sender come to the code? To the redundance, to the codation, how it is coded and how it is decoded. It's if you will hurt laws of communication technology. As mathematicians, we understand it quickly. Peter Borger says the same. If what happens in the cell, senders are there, receivers are there, that transmit in one single cell, and a self-developing process shall be there, and from here I start until there. That makes a copy, transcription, and a chemical reproduction, like the genes, then the genetics is multiplied. And to that point we will come later. Andre Eggen speaks of intention. It is lacking intention. The most top level, apobetic, the purpose is lacking. Simply, it lacks a creative living creature that wants to communicate with another living creature to achieve a certain purpose. So we go on in our game because this is propagated solution to explain that evolution is true, that by hazard, by gaming, by frequency, success, survive. But what is success? In highly complex, depending systems from each other, depending complex systems, they shall be the outcome from hazard, by chance, with thousands of prior steps, and you have to add it one after the other, and to let it alive without knowing that it will be successful later, because it can be only judged later whether it has been successful when the last element is put there and the machine can start to work and can communicate with another machine. It is impossible to just create it from materia, from physical, touchable things. The biggest problem in this evolution mechanism, which is claimed to be true everywhere, from which point of view can we let it be true if success cannot be measured in advance? how can it be successful, purposeful communication? It's the death of all communication theory. Only when you achieve to the goal, you can say, well, that is good. We will keep that one. That has been evolution. This evolved perfectly and we will reproduce it again. But in advance, you cannot know whether it's successful. It's a big problem for evolution.
Ich möchte kurz sagen, von was ich hier spreche.
Of what do I talk?
Alles, was bis jetzt gesagt wurde, kann
all that has been said can be applied to what I say now. In living in forms of life, the complex function of transmitting information from a sender to receiver, which code has to be used, it's much more than information transmission. Before the creation of a creature, it exists already in there's a DNS in the DNS, in the spermia and in the egg of the mother. I have 4 children, they're similar but not the same. And the first cell all contains that code. And the first cell splits up, the second cell from the first has the same plan and the same code implemented in it and doubles again to 4. And this code is implemented in each cell, even before the being is a living creature, even before the creature is visible. It can't be taken. It's fascinating. It's far away of every system a man built until now. It's unmeasurable, more complex, more skillful, more efficient in energy. It goes by itself. It's much more redundant than what we can achieve as a man together, many engineers, many scientists. We couldn't build it so far and probably never can do it. This is much more complex than this very simplified example of successful communication. Life has a plan inside of data. There is a data contained in the DNS, and in one single cell, it will come to life, self-regulating, self-developing, reproduced. And I may not tell the thought with which I'm pregnant. I have to wait until tell you the point. Creativity, planification, or hazards. Arbitrariness, caprice. Planning is you have a purpose, you have a goal, you want to be successful, and you have protection measures. Don't put too much materials away into garbage. Willkür, arbitration, doesn't have a goal. We spend time, useless material and energy. It's not needed. We just throw it away. It's try and error. And errors are more often than the success. It's planless variation. And this is evolution. In nature, we see the contrary. We see thousands of successes and only few of not achieving the goal. We don't see it's not 23 dead cows out there and one has good grass. No, it's the other way around. Something doesn't work. Human engineers. Flying. We have ails and we have other things just to steer the airplane. And this is the bird. Created by what? It flies. Oh, but where is the top thing that can steer it to the side? Is it more complex the thing or easier than the other airplane? It's genius. Flying is the most energy consuming progress. To lie down, laying down uses little energy, walking more and flying more. And nature invented it a lot of times.
Unglaublich, das konnte einfach so gefunden werden und noch variiert werden, weil
ja, wir haben ja it has been found. And resources endless, variation. Let it fly in different ways. It's genius. It's ingenious. It's tricky. And it's sophisticated. Camera. We don't use the left picture. iPhones have the best cameras. It's too expensive to me. In graphics, with modern knowledge, what can be achieved? It's wonderful, but techniques comes to the limits. If you make a picture from sunset, but it's difficult to make a picture against the sun. It's not how I saw it in my eye. The eye. It's not unplanned. It's genius, complex infrastructure there. Some cell split up and turned to be another cell that lets the light get through. It is very clear cell. Joel. You're an optician. Most good quality, and it moves, and it focuses, and it has a dynamics. It's really crazy. Technically, it's very, very great. And this miracle of nature is not invented once. There is a spider too, and we see that the eyes had been produced in very different variety. With even in different directions. Human engineer efforts in finding out where comes a noise from. Where is the source of the noise? Two sensors checking out where it does come from. And there is the phantom solution, another geometric solution to find out where the sender is. I need a third sensor to have the true solution. It is to eliminate the mirrored effect. And we call that in the war, it's radio science, aircrafting, electronic fighting, signal intelligence. 3 sensors, and you can know where the sender is on that wave and that many times it had been sent. But it needs 3 sensors. Man only has 2 sensors, 2 ears. And you and me, we understand the noise that comes from upstairs or from downstairs With only 2 sensors? How does it work? It's genius. It's great. Here you have a black ear, written, signed, designed. But if the signal comes from the front, it is reflected and back into the ear. That's the main signal. And because the ear is formed like a salad leaf, the noise hits, the wave hits and reflects to another thing, and an additional information is produced by your ear shell, and through it gets into the tunnel of your ear, and it is maybe changing the signal, and with simple calculation methods in our brain, we can omit the third sensor. Is nature simple and we are genius? No, I don't believe. Our ear and our brain, without any problem, realizes, oh, the signal is from there. It can't. Our brain understands and can distinguish the signal from all other noise around us. This is nature. What efforts and human engineer efforts, computer,
Windows, Apple, iOS, Linux, Unix, was auch immer.
operating systems.
Das Bild werden wir noch sehen, haben es vielleicht schon
And
gesehen, ich bin nicht sicher,
this
wie, aber wir
picture,
sehen es noch.
we may see it later.
Links
To the left side, it's a bacterium, the most basic living thing, how it steers the production of proteins. And in green, we see how many protein production things it can steer with simple functions, which is in yellow on top. And Linux, to the right side, is one of the most complex operating systems for computers. To the left side, a lot protein generating genes in there, and to the right, the best operating system that we have produces only very little protein. And what is astonishing, we have a little violet and yellow. This is the steering mechanisms. Can only few steer production of a lot of proteins and steer the production genes that produce proteins. The green is the output. And to the right side, it's Linux. It's upside down again. It's a complex. It's much more complex than Windows. It has a higher order. It's not chaotic like Windows. It's more determined. I worked as a Unix specialist, but I'm sorry, it's just at the edge. A lot of ingenious thing and a lot of work behind production of Linux operating system. Compared to the bacteria, we have a library of violet functions and high-level code, which is yellow and violet, and only produces a little of output. The output is what me as a person gets on the screen. And it's astonishing how efficient the bacterium is. The person who created these operating systems, I bow down before that person. Mostly efficient and most genius developer was behind that. The best operating system commonly elaborated by many people is to the right side, and it's very humble compared to the left thing. The left thing is very genius, very great. I don't know how to write such code. I assume it's far away of human thinking. And there is another code in the world, which is the Bible. I take Hebrew. the Word of God
Bereits nur auf den zwei untersten Ebenen von Kommunikation,
on
wenn
the
wir die
second
Buchstaben im
lowest
Hebräisch anschauen,
levels, on the two
findet man
levels, basic levels in
unglaubliche
Hebraic,
Aussagen, die noch
we
nicht
see
einmal vom
great
Text in der Semantik oder
expressions.
so sind.
They are
Was
not
der
yet on the
Satz
third
sagt,
level like
hat es schon
semantics,
bildhaft
but it
Aussagen
already
drin, die
pictures
hauen dich vom
things
Sockel.
that are great.
Es sprengt den Rahmen hier aus Zeitgründen, das darzulegen. Es gibt viele Dinge da, wo man dazu sagen könnte. Ich gehe da weiter. Ich möchte zum Schluss kommen.
What is the clue? What is the point
Das
of the message?
Schmankerl ist, diese Zelle wird befruchtet.
That the single cell is nourished and reproduces itself.
Beim Menschen ein Embryo und so weiter.
It comes forth an embryo and then a man, a person. And not only one cell knows how to get to the goal, even each cell knows the geographic position, whether it shall be clear for the eye or to become a muscle cell because of the geographic position. And at the end, you have something again that transmits the code with another person, a woman and a man, and they reproduce. The code is reproduced. Origami. This is how Japanese people make those flowers. It looks to be self-deploying, self-developing object. And what is, if inside here, if there were a code inside and it reproduces it again and again, what great thing. If evolution, if materia, the physical, touchable world can bring forth this, to calculate it with mathematics probability, you can speak, it's not attainable, it's impossible. Today we saw the castle, we saw successful communication, which needs following principles. It needs a sender, information, communication media, a receiver that can understand the purpose and can realize the purpose and the goal. And this is impossible without a planning, realizing spirit. For me, this is the creator. And me, as an engineer, God gives me the intelligence that I may create things as an engineer. This is the everywhere recognized principle of information technology and the information science. And no one doubts on it. As in evolution, how evolution can reproduce its own plan to get to the next level. It's impossible, mathematically impossible. I look at nature as much that I understand, and I am astonished on the creator who built it. Communication, successful communication. Do we understand what communication is needed? This is my speech. Do we understand that information and communication and implementation of communication and purpose and attaining the goal between the receiver and sender cannot come by hazard? In information technology, nobody doubts on it. And why? Why do not all informaticians believe in God? I can't understand. Not to say the bad word, inconsequent. Thank you for your attention.
Vielen Dank, Roger. Die Botschaft ist angekommen. Wir machen eine Pause. Es geht weiter in einer halben Stunde, um 15:15. Genau.
It's a break now, 30 minutes, and you will hear the bell 4:45. The bell is 5 minutes before the lesson starts.